Online Warriors versus Acend. Now, this is going to be really exciting because I think this is where a true test for Online Warriors comes in. And Gaskin, they've already done the upset earlier today. They upset Na'Vi. Does that kind of put a little bit more of an emphasis on how good this Online Warriors team is, or really the fact that Na'Vi just still haven't quite clicked yet and haven't worked out what they need to do as a team?
I think it's an element of both, as well as game types coming into the equation. King of the Hill featured, as it is going to quite a lot throughout the tournament today, and some teams are going to adjust to it better than others. And I think there would have been a lot more of a drive for Online Warriors to win that series against Na'Vi because, you know, Respectful's just been dropped. There's all these players trying to prove a point as to why maybe they weren't on the big teams to begin with, and now they deserve to be on a bigger and better team. And against Acend, I do think it's probably going to be one task too many, and I think they will know that as well. However, they have nothing to lose. You know, you can go into this, attack Acend, try and bring them down, be the first team to ever take Acend down in what is years now in online EU competition. So there is a lot to do, but I'm not going to put it out of the realms of possibility. But Acend still the favorites, of course.
All right, Acend still the favorites. We're going to get into game right now, but Clutch, as we do, I want to hear what you think of this Acend roster, where they're at. They haven't made a change. They're staying strong. They're coming up against a new hungry team, Online Warriors, who have a little bit of bad blood from being dropped. They've come together, looking pretty good so far. So what do you think the odds are for this Online Warriors team as we head into this first winners semifinals?
Yeah, I think Ascend's obviously the team to beat over here in the EU scene. The only team that really didn't make a change that was at the top of this scene. And from me, Acend still leaves you wanting more when they go over towards the Kansas City lands and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure they've got to be a little disappointed with their performance. They've got to be a little fired up to once again dominate their region and continue to get better, especially with the new maps, modes, introductions. But it's concerning to me that they're almost hitting that wall when they come over to the NA scene. So it's like, what can Acend do to elevate their game even further to potentially get top 6, top 4, things that we know that these guys are capable of when we take a look at their individual skill. Now, Dan, as we get into game 1 here, we got Online Warriors, which is a brand new squad formed together. We talked about it yesterday, Dan. A lot of individual skill on this team. We'll see very quickly if they can keep up with the teamwork of Acend, though. Already trying to get off to a hot start here, and unfortunately, Respectful getting taken down, and Acend off to an early numbers advantage could bode well for Acend fans.
You are completely right. I mean, a team full of highly individually skilled players when it comes to not just Halo Infinite, but previous Halos as well. But how's it going to work when you put all that together? They've done job number 1. They've beaten Na'Vi in a best of 3. I will reiterate, best of 3 is very different to best of 5s, but that's all that was asked of them. That's all that was required of them. Now it's a very different story here against Acend. An Acend roster will be looking to continue their dominance of European Halo Online, and already in this game, they've started out well. 23 points to start off with. Online Warriors trying to fight back into things, but they're not able to do so when Shady's doing stuff like that.
Shaady with the drop shot with the snipe. Not often do you see how fast that drop shot snipe battle rifle combo can be, and Shaady showing you it's Apex here at the start of this match. He picks back up that snipe, relocates top tower, and all of a sudden Acend with total control for the moment, jumping off to a very early lead. It's up to 40 points right now, and I love this positioning by Shaady. He's gonna take an aggro position to try and deny the exit of house control, but unfortunately he's backed up. He loses Sica as well, so this could be Online Warriors' opportunity to get out of this one.
And I will say that when you look at, you know, series layouts and you look at what Online Warriors played previously, this is a game type now, Strongholds here on live fire, that Acend will know very well. They're going to be so well practiced. Whether Online Warriors, they're a new team, they wouldn't have been able to play it as much as a squad, so you'd naturally be thinking that they should struggle in game types that have been around a little bit longer. But when Catalyst comes into the equation, when King of the Hill comes into the equation, I do think Online Warriors have a great chance there because they're on a level playing field with some of these teams. But just as I'm speaking, they're scoring points, they're trying to go for total control at the same time. They are really taking this game to Acend.
Yeah, absolutely. And this Online Warriors, I mean, after beating Na'Vi, which was such a grudge match for these guys, right? Respectful gets dropped. He ends up beating them the first time they come around. It was a best of 3. We can always caveat it with that, like you said, Dan. But, I mean, they've got to be riding some momentum from that series. How far can that momentum take them is the big question, because right now they've taken 3 members down of Acend. They've got control of their own. And with a little bit of wherewithal in this setup, they're going to be able to hold this one and eventually take the lead. They look to be aggressive on tower now and still Respectful. Had a very nice series against Na'Vi. Looking to be aggressive here, finds himself an assist. Heat wave in hand. Knows that there's a player around tower. I love the repulsor. I love the heat wave combination. And because of that, Respectful has now earned himself some seat control as well.
And just to pick up on something you said earlier about Acend and them trying to break into the top 6 of North America and where are their heads at, I do think that they see European competition as a, well, almost a guaranteed victory at this point. So how much have they been practicing since Kansas City? How much have they been putting into the game? Against an online Warrior squad who are newly formed, they're going to be driven, they're going to be getting on every day, they're going to be scrimming, they're going to be playing matchmaking, they're going to be wanting to get better because they have a target in Europe. And that's
absolutely.
Acend are that target.
Nice Lqgend with the double kill, and I like it. I love that point. Can he get the triple? Just a narrow miss on Respectful, but the aggressiveness out of Lqgend still stands true. Oh, the nice body shot as well. Lqgend, just one of those players that can impress you, but I love that point, Dan. As new maps and modes come in, as you continue to force yourself to adapt, to change, to the meta evolving, to further masterization of different maps and modes and whatnot, you need to be able to find motivation there, because for Acend, there's not a lot of motivation up until Orlando comes around, because they have dominated this scene, like you're saying, for a long time. But will that continue? Because everyone else in this scene, they're not content, right? They want that first place. Online Warriors know that they have a lot of potential here, already beating Na'Vi. They've shown us a little bit of it today, but we'll see if they're able to come back in this game, because, I mean, you blink, Dan, and all of a sudden Acend are up to a 100-point lead on the back of that Lqgend play with the snipe. He's already 10-2-7, and it looks like the old Acend is starting to rear its ugly head again.
That's what Acend is so good at. They are ruthless. They just push in, ensure that trip cap, and they will really throttle their opponents to the point where that point difference was very close, but suddenly becomes a huge gap. Probably one that is too difficult now to overturn for Online Warriors, who are not going to be a squad who are prepared for comebacks like this just yet. If it was a close, scrappy game, you have to imagine they could probably take Acend quite far. But as soon as now you see a golfing difference like this, Online Warriors are probably already thinking about game number 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's moments away from game number 2 if they're not able to stop this trip cap right now. Sica trying to defend A. A big kill by Mose is going to potentially delay this trip cap, but Shady's right there to pick up a kill of his own, make it 3 dead for Online Warriors again. Acend with total control if they can get a reset onto A, with pretty much in this game. But Snakey finds himself 1, finds himself 2 with a nice death nade, and momentum kills like that can maybe give you some confidence going into game 2, because we'll be headed there shortly.
Yeah, we're going to be heading there 246 to 247. B is going to be contested, so Online Warrior is going to delay probably the inevitable at this point for a short amount of time, and Acend just going to have to reset, reevaluate how they want to take the rest of this game. But Online Warriors, they can be proud of how they started, right? They took Acend to a point where they were struggling a little bit. They got all 4 dead. They had control at one point, and they forced Acend to play at a level that we expect. Acend can't just have this as a walk in the park. They need to be on their A game.
Yeah, you wondered coming into this series, was Acend going to walk, like kind of sleepwalk their way through this series? It doesn't look like that's the case at all. They are looking to dominate, looking to continue their domination here in the EU scene. And after game 1 of this best of 3, they have shown us a very dominant performance once again. And it's no surprise out of those guys. You know, they left Kansas City wanting more on the table, wanting to prove themselves. It looks like they haven't lost their motivation as of yet, because game 1, if that showed us anything, that was the best of Acend that I've seen.
And I do think that game type just didn't really go in the way of Online Warriors. They probably looked at it and said, oh, well, I mean, we know how good Acend are at Strongholds. Historically, not just against European teams, but North Americans as well. They've performed so well as we look at some of the stats. And I mean, really, when you look at Stronghold stats in terms of like captures and occupation time, there's not really too much to read into that from everyone. People have been doing their jobs, people have been getting into it, but when you look at damage dealt, I mean, actually a few players stepping up on the side of the Online Warriors. Snakey, who has been one of the biggest damage dealers prior to Kansas City in online tournaments. Everyone on that side trying to do what they can to out damage the side of Acend, but it was the teamwork, it was the coordination that won that game for the French roster, and that's what we've known to expect from them. We expect just perfection every single time they get into a game. It's very rare you see them making mistakes, especially in European online competition.
Yeah, these guys, they swarm, they play as a pack, and when they are starting to click, things get dangerous, and the pace that they play at is so difficult, especially for a new team, Dan, like you're talking about. It's so difficult with a map like Live Fire Strongholds. It's very small, it's very easy to rotate and be with your teammates very quickly. Acend specializes when things like that are needed from their skill sets, and with that we see that dominant performance. And for Online Warriors, they need to figure out ways to find their footing in this series if they want to be able to compete with the likes of Acend. Very difficult to do because of the pace that Acend play at, but I feel like as we move into game 2 and we take a look at Catalyst Slayer, that's a major opportunity to be able to slow the game down, to be able to say, hey, like, we're not as pressured off our spawns because it's a larger map. It's more segmented as far as the different sections of the map. And because of that, I think that we'll be looking at a completely different storyline in game 2, but they need to do a better job of controlling the power on the map. Throughout that game 1, we saw how dominant and how quickly Acend would be able to deal damage with the sniper, with the overshields, how impactful Lqgend was with that snipe, even in just brief moments. Although they weren't headshots, the fact that you're dealing that much damage that quickly when you're not missing like Lqgend doesn't, it's very easy for Acend to capitalize on that damage. We'll see if Online Warriors can get control of the skewer, get control of the overshield, and if that can change the storyline here in a game 2 Slayer.
Well, this is our first chance to see some of the top European teams compete on the brand new map in Halo Infinite. Straight for the overshield as well is Respectful, and that's one way to go about things. There's been a lot of questions. How do you get the overshield? It's a difficult place to grab it. But if you get enough support from the rest of the team, like Respectful just has, you can quickly swoop in, grab it, but now you've got to do something with it here.
Yeah, we'll see what he's able to do. He spots one player, he gets him weak, but unfortunately, Ascend's teamwork stands true. It backs down Respectful from being able to finish up that kill. His overshield, it's melted away, but Mose here, he's found 2 kills of his own to keep this one tied up. Make it 3 for Online Warriors, and already a little bit of a different story here. I know we're just 5 kills into the game, but Online Warriors at least with an advantage for now.
This is what we said in game 1. This was the best chance, if any, that Online Warriors are going to have on a brand new map where practice maybe hasn't been as much on the side of Acend. What can Online Warriors do? What have they learned in their more practice time in most recent weeks over this Acend roster? And what we've learned is starting strategy has worked out for them.
Right.
And there's the skewer being put into action. So powerful on this map. It's got a slow reload time, of course, but when it hits, it does hit hard.
High risk, high reward is the skewer. You got to hit that shot. It may not be too difficult compared to the S7, but much longer reload time, like you said, Dan. So if you catch yourself in bad positioning and you miss that shot, you're going to pay for it with your life, unfortunately. Acend doesn't have an answer yet. We'll see what Respectful is able to do. He has a flank under this player that's low. I love the aggressiveness out of him. He pulls out the BR to make sure it's guaranteed damage. The melees come through, and Online Warriors now 9-6 and a much slower game than game 1. Look at this. Respectful just holding down this main ramp, doing a lot of observation for his team. Not too much BR damage, but I love this. He peeks, gets the killing spree, and Respectful 5-0-1 to start this one off.
And the good thing, if a Banshee or a Ghost somehow appears on the map, you know, you've got a way to deal with it, with the skewer being there as well, especially if Respectful's hitting shots like that. Overshield is going to be in the hands of Acend, you'd have to imagine, after the frags they've just been able to pick up. So maybe this is their ticket back into the game. They've got a 1-kill lead. Acend did go down. They were behind. Online Warriors were looking very much on top, but that's how quickly things can change when this Acend roster gets going.
Yeah, that was a big moment for me in this game too, and even in this series. Online Warriors got that kill, got the killing spree out of Respectful. Overshield was coming up. You have to transition that into overshield control if you're Online Warriors. Unfortunately, Acend was able to get that overshield, win a few fights of their own, and now Sica's starting to heat up as well. So this score line, it's all tied up, Dan. Acend and Online Warriors are figuring it out along the way. And Online Warriors, like I said, they controlled the overshield and the skewer early on in this game. They built up a lead, but unfortunately, that first time they give up an overshield, their lead, it's evaporated just like that.
And I'm trying to keep an eye on these teams, how they're playing this map, right? We've been trying to study who's going to be playing Catalyst well, watching scrims wherever we can, but seeing it in a pro environment where teams, you know, there's more on the line, it's a competitive environment. Does that change anything? How are they able to control the spawns? Which areas are they going to be pushing? Do you commit to overshield? These are all the questions I've been looking for and slowly getting the answers to. You'll see the sword often in the back pocket of one of the players as well. So important when you're going around these narrow corridors that you have the ability just to strike an opponent down if you are able to find that sword in your hands.
Now that some of the power is dismissed from the map for now, Online Warriors continuing to keep the lead here. That bodes well for their future. Big shots out of Snakey. Those are going to be rewarded with the kill. Unfortunately, he loses all 3 teammates, and Snakey forced to try and stay alive. Unfortunately, the nade, it just nicks him as he gets taken down as well, stuns his shield timer, and because of that, Snipedrone picks up an easy kill. And not only that, we're looking at an Acend lead here for the first time in game 2.
So Snipedrone has always been such a powerhouse, but it's Sica who's the player who's been able to pick up the overshield, and now you've got to do some damage with it. Since the overshield's had its changes, you are more powerful than you were previously. Mose is going to be the first player to be tested here, but unfortunately no help, as instead tries to take down Respectful. And one thing I want to say about Respectful as well, looking at him, he's got 10 kills at the moment. Being dropped from a roster or being removed from a roster or leaving a roster, whatever happened on the side of Na'Vi, that is going to drive you as a player to perform at your very best, to make sure you are improving so that you can prove a point to your old team. And certainly in this tournament so far, statistically, Respectful has been such a powerhouse for Online Warriors. And it does feel like, you know, that fire has been lit beneath him once more. And is it going to turn him into the Respectful that we saw back in Halo 5? Because he really was one of the best players in Europe.
Yeah, that was something we were talking about yesterday, Dan. It's like there's 2 ways that Respectful can react after being dropped like that from Na'Vi, right? He can either like woe is me and collect whatever paycheck he can get and get on whatever team and perform at a solid rate, or he can step up and it can motivate him to find his new ceiling, to re-energize him, right? Maybe that Na'Vi team wasn't what he needed either, rather than what Na'Vi needed out of him. Looks like Respectful has woken up here today, to your point. Had a great series against Na'Vi earlier, having a good game 2 here against Acend. Gonna need to have a better game 2 if they want to come out with a win here, though, because already reaching the 30 kill mark first is Acend. Online Warriors just shortly behind him, but Shaady extending that lead 1 more up to 2.
Snipedrone's got the skewer as well. Never good news when the Snipedrone has any sort of sniper related weapon. Misses that final shot, but he did connect with a few before. Now it's 34-30, and if Acend start to run away with it, I think if they get a 6-7 kill lead, maybe that's going to be game, set, and match. So if you're Online Warriors here, you've got to make sure you stay within a few kills. You can't allow Acend to run away with it, just as they did in game 1.
This is the moment. Overshield, skewer, they're both coming up right now. You need to figure out a way to get control, and what better way to do that than to get the first pick. Respectful finds 1 Phlux, finds 1 Mose, finds another, and Lqgend, he's in no man's land compared to the overshield right now, so it should be a free overshield going to Online Warriors. But somehow, some way, Lqgend gets a kill, gets another assist, and the respawners for Acend are able to clean that one up, and all of a sudden Lqgend has stalled the amount of pressure that Online Warriors would have been able to have here. Where's this overshield player? Was it Mose in the back of this flag? Because Mose, his life is shortly lived, you got to think. But no, teamwork comes through for Online Warriors as Mose plays alive. And I love this position back here. I call this back L-Town because Sal hit me with that with one of the first times we were playing this map back in the day, and I'll never forget it. I was like, there's no way that corner is that deep. Mo's already figuring out that that corner is that deep, and because of it, plays his life perfect.
You really do have to check your angles on Catalyst. There are so many corners that can be hidden around, and you can surprise opponents, ambush them, but Lqgend's picked up the skewer here. And 38-37, this is a big responsibility. You've got to be hitting your shots. You can't afford to miss any here, and that reload time to punish you. And there we go. All you have to do is go for the body with the skewer. I think everyone knows that by now, but if you are a new watcher, it is just a one-shot kill wherever you're going to be hitting them, torso or head. 39-38. Acend have got a very minor lead.
All right, Snakey trades one out, able to find a second. Are the Online Warriors? They tie this one up, and game 2 looking a lot different, but Lqgend finds himself another kill with the skewer, jumps up, stays alive, and I love this by him. He's just going to slow it down. This skewer, it can be so effective in these hallways, but he's going to opt to push low. Going to have Mose right in front of him. Can't hit the skewer shot, and that's a costful one, but no, Lqgend's VR. So strong, so steady, takes down Mose, and with overshield coming up, he still looks to be aggressive. All of Online Warriors stuck on this side of the map, and unfortunately, somehow, some way, they get out of that successfully. 3 dead for Acend. Overshield in the hands of Sica, however, he's able to take down Snakey. 45-43. Acend just need 5 more, but Online Warriors doing their best to stay in this one.
So many times it's just been one player from Acend staying alive and having so much of the focus from the Online Warriors. They get away, they get support from spawners. 46-45, sword in the hand, but goes down 46-46. And this is Online Warriors' chance, right? They have to take advantage of this. They have 47. To try and take this game off Acend.
You got swords, you got grapple. Tons of plays can be made here, Phlux. What are you going to be able to do? Snakey, he needs to back up. He needs to make sure he's with his team. all of Acend looking to try and push this side of the map, and phlux and Snakey, they're together. You have the sword, you choose the BR. He finds the first, Mose finds the second. 49-47. We need one more from Online Warriors.
All they don't do is just push in, get aggressive, but Snipedrone should be traded out, will be. And Online Warriors take a game off Acend. It was the game they needed to, the game we thought they might be able to. And it means we do get a game 3 in the winners bracket semi-finals. Not something we see often when Acend are involved in any sort of series. We very rarely go any further than game 2 or game 3, depending on whether it's a best of 3 or best of 5. But hats off to Online Warriors. They performed well there. It was looking a little bit dicey at times, but they made sure they stayed within a few, right? And it was that sword play at the end. It was ensuring the overshields as well, and ensuring they killed the overshields, which really had them in a good stead for the last few kills.
Yeah, honestly, I was very worried when Sica was able to pick up that last overshield and was able to put it to use, even though he was the last player alive for Acend. The fact that you saw Online Warriors not able to secure that overshield, you thought that that might be a blunder that comes back to bite them, but no, they figure out a way to trade efficiently there towards the end, pick up a few kills, and the teamwork pushing into that left side of the map, into that hallway, was unbelievable from Online Warriors. They were able to bait and switch better than Acend in those situations, and that's why they come out on top. And Dan, this is what we were talking about coming into the series. This is why when you see new maps and modes added to the game, to the meta, what it will do is create opportunity for the teams that are not as successful, that are not at the top, to find ways to outplay their opponents. They can figure out ways to shift the meta, to play strategically better than the teams that are at the top. And I feel like Online Warriors figured out a little bit of success here in game 2, and that's why they're able to stay in the series a little bit longer. And now all of a sudden it's one game to take the series against the team that has been dominant in this region like Acend.
Yeah, a team that's never lost a series in HCS online competition in Europe throughout Halo Infinite, and even iterations of this team that hadn't lost in Halo 5 as well. And we always have to say that because it's such an amazing thing, an amazing achievement that Acend have been able to do, and their dominance throughout this region. So as soon as they do drop a series and drop into that lower bracket, it is a big deal, regardless of whether it's a best of 3 or best of 5, because it hasn't happened before. But going into game 3, it is going to be a game type that they're a little bit more well-versed in. They're going to know it a bit better. It's not going to be King of the Hill. It's not going to be Catalyst, so they should be a little bit more comfortable, you'd imagine. But I wonder whether there's some momentum now behind these Online Warriors, because they're going to be feeling themselves, right? They beat Na'Vi. Respectful beat his old teammate. They're taking a game off the best team in Europe. And now they have the chance here on Oddball Recharge to try and do the unthinkable and knock Acend into the losers bracket.
Yeah, will they win this game 3? I'm not sure, but will they be able to walk away from this series after beating Na'Vi and after pushing Acend the distance, even in a best of 3, like you're saying? Things are looking promising for this Online Warriors squad. They're fairly new, and with that fairly new, you find motivation, you find small wins along the way. The goal is not to win the first EU Pro Series. The goal is to grow as a team, to figure out ways to be able to compete with the likes of Acend. And if Online Warriors can do that consistently, they'll be very satisfied with their play. This would be a big one. We'll see if they're capable of it, and we'll see what Snipedrone has to say about that game 2 loss early on here as he makes his way towards this shock rifle. He's got a player to deal with in pipes, makes slight work of phlux, and with that, you have to think Snipedrone's going to be aggressive towards that shock rifle, but he wants to push this glass, and unfortunately that ends up costing him his life. Snakey's able to trade that kill out, and what looked like momentary early control for Acend has now flipped in Online Warriors' favor.
Worth noting that Online Warriors did win a ball game earlier against Na'Vi in the tournament, so it's not like they are terrible at these oddball game types. They know how to do it. They've all played on top teams. They've all featured across top European teams for quite some time now, but now put them all together, can they get the job done here against Acend? And Sica make sure that Mose isn't going to have too much fun, and there's ball control now for Acend. I mean, this isn't something we've not seen before. Acend have lost Slayers. I think actually the majority of games that they've lost throughout online tournaments have been Slayers. It just seems like Objective is where they are more well-versed, where they are more well-drilled and practiced, and Slayers always have that element of randomness, which some teams can take advantage of. But here they've had a nice start.
Well, Slayers just have a typically less strategical difference in between the two teams, right? Typically Slayers come down to individual players just making plays, getting kills, and less strategy around a potential objective. Right now, when you're having to focus around an oddball, there's several different factors that get added on to the the combination of the map and the mode. Right now, Snakey with the shock rifle in hand, trying to defend this elevator position. Can't land the headshot onto the first player trying to poke catwalk. Loses multiple members, needs to figure out a way to create an opening, and unfortunately Snakey, he gets taken down. All 4 dead for Online Warriors. The ball back in the hands of Acend with the full setup. Spells bad news bears here in round 1. We'll see how long Acend can keep this setup, but to your point, Dan, when you're talking about Slayers, that's why you see teams push, worst teams I would say, push the best teams in regions the distance in series is when they win the Slayers. Those Slayers, when you're an underdog, become must-win games, but when you do win them, they create the opportunity for upset. The shock rifle and camo in the hands of Snakey lands that headshot, creates the opening, and all of a sudden, somehow, some way, Online Warriors subside the opportunity for Acend once again.
Yeah, I was surprised that Online Warriors hadn't been able to play that ball previously in Elevator, and then Acend also rotates it into Online Warriors, maybe not expecting the camo player to be stood top middle with a shock rifle, but sometimes against these teams you have to expect the unexpected. They do pull out all the stops, a double kill for phlux and a shock rifle looking for more, but he's actually just going to pick up the ball. phlux, a really good player in Europe. He's grown so much, both literally and mentally as well. He's become quite the player. He knows exactly how he wants to play the game, and I think that this team is going to be the perfect blend for what he's been looking for.
Yeah, definitely a player I'm starting to pay more attention to as Halo Infinite continues to take off. I've seen his name around the block. Haven't seen too much of his gameplay, but I'll take your word for it when you say he's a good player. We'll see what he's able to provide Online Warriors throughout this series, throughout this tournament. Right now, ball still in hand. Just 13 points lead. Just a 13-point lead for Acend as of now, and I love the rotation into blue to be able to play it when you need to. Shock rifle can be very dangerous on this head glitch back here, making it look easy. Is Snakey with the first headshot on the Lqgend, and that's the opening to keep numbers in their advantage. For now, Online Warriors could take the lead here and now.
And I know Roster Mania is shaking up the top 8, but surely it's not going to have shaken up things to the fact where we might see Acend drop down to elimination bracket. Is that genuinely a possibility here? Well, looking at the scoreline, I mean, I wouldn't say it's out of the realms of possibility. Online Warriors 49, Acend on 50. Online Warriors have a very narrow lead now, and all they realistically need is one more setup to take this first round. Acend struggling to keep up with the pace of which Online Warriors are being able to put into the game right now, which is not something I thought I would ever say, as Acend have traditionally been one of the quicker teams in Europe, but Online Warriors really playing at a phenomenal pace here.
They didn't go for camo. We'll see if that comes back to bite him. phlux has his eyes on the camo player. Can't hit the sword shot, but great job by phlux to follow up with the battle rifle to find that player, spot him out, reveal him, and not only that, but get the kill. So phlux finding a few kills there to hold this setup true. Just 15 points is all Online Warriors need now to make this reality of round 1 going in their favor. And I love the fact that phlux is being aggressive with this sword, but unfortunately, all of the members from Acend look like they've relocated towards long haul, and the ball guy, he gets taken down. So the rotation not fast enough for Online Warriors here, and we'll see if that comes back to bite them. All they need is 10 points though, Dan. So just one more setup break is all they need to take round 1.
And it's good that we're on Respectful. Flux's point of view, excuse me, as he looks across to Respectful, because he has the sword. He's the player who can potentially break this setup, but it was him who left the rest of the team earlier. And it's always that risk. If you go for that aggressive push one way and the other team has been able to somehow sniff you out and they out-rotate you, then you find yourself in this position. But now Respectful getting a kill. Acend find themselves at least 3-2 up in terms of players. And Acend know they just need to hold on to this setup now. They can't afford to make any mistakes, otherwise the Online Warriors could come back in. They filter themselves one by one though, and if Online Warriors keep desperating this ball like this, Acend will be licking their lips at the prospect of just holding on to this setup and winning this first round.
That's a big kill by Respectful onto Shaady. You saw how successful
thank you very much.
was. The ball actually flies out the catwalk, so they're gonna have to go get it as Respectful finds a second. Snakey finds another one, but Lqgend answers it right back. Unfortunately, that ball being on catwalk is such a tough position for Lqgend to try and defend when he's bottom mangler pit. Fortunately for him, he's got some teammates with the sword carrier, and Mose finds 2, Respectful finds a 3rd, and it's all up to Snipedrone to try and get the play. He can't do it though. Respectful locks down blue, picks up that ball, and now 8 points is all Online Warriors need.
And there shouldn't be enough time for Acend to even get across the map, let alone stop this ball. So round 1 going to Online Warriors, which puts them one round away from knocking Acend down into the elimination bracket for the first time in EU online competition here in the HCS. Acend, how do they answer?
Respectful with 16 kills in the first round, absolutely popping off, making himself known here in the EU scene. You thought, how was he going to respond when Navi released him from the roster? Respectful has done nothing but dominate here today. He's trying to make a statement, trying to say, I was not the problem here, as he pops off in round 1, but already Acend off to a very different start here in round 2. They got ball in hand early, camo control as well. And look at how Snipedrone wants to play this one. He's got so much information, patiently playing it to a perfect play here as he finds the first one. Good damage onto his second. Unfortunately, he's losing teammates, however, so this information didn't bode well for Acend. Their setup is broken for now, but they've jumped out to a 20-point lead, and Snipedrone's still continuing to slay out.
And it looks like Snipedrone's starting to wake up. The robot is now online, and he said, oh, I guess I have to start playing this game properly, right? He's alive, he's awake, and he has got a sword in his control, which means bad news bears for phlux. I tell you what, Acend, they needed to wake up. Right after that round 1, that was going to be a major wake-up call. Alarm was ringing, and Online Warriors begged the question of, are you actually going to be turning up today in this online competition, or are we going to be able to get a little bit of a freebie by pushing through to the winners bracket finals? But it looks like Acend are responding well, 41-0, and Online Warriors now need to find a way to stop this momentum from Acend.
Yeah, they got to figure it out. That sword being so impactful here in game 3. Respectful finds another one as the ball goes into Snakey's hands. He's got to try and stay alive with it, but unfortunately, Snipedrone shuts him down, and Snipedrone tries to play the ball. He does get it off the map. Mose can't catch it, and unfortunately, that could have been maybe some time. And actually, Mose being surrounded there is not the worst thing in the world that that ball gets played, because Acend was right there in blue to potentially pick that one up. So no harm, no foul. The map gets reset, but a 40-point lead right now for Acend shows you that they have woken up. Camo just came up as well, and Acend picking up a few kills. You can almost bet that they're going to control the rest of this game, this round 2, I'm sorry. With this camo control, ball in hand once again, wash, rinse, repeat, and Acend have ball and pipes.
Nice chance with the shock rifle and camouflage, though, to make some plays once more for Snipedrone. It does seem like Acend are really taking the game to Online Warriors now, to the point where Online Warriors really struggling to keep up with just the structure that we're seeing from Acend. Don't want to be giving away the shock rifle to any of these players on Online Warriors, though, but with 3 down and ball in hand, Acend are looking far more comfortable in this round.
Good information from Lqgend. Spots a few players spawning long haul. Gonna want to rotate it towards the elevator. Shaady, he's going to pick up this pipes control with the shock. Can he jump over? Can he hit the shot? Can't hit the first. The second one knocks him to no shield, but it's not enough to get the kill. 2 go down for Acend, make it a 3rd, and now that ball needs to get played. It is, but this is Online Warriors' opportunity to break this setup and get one of their own and potentially try and make this round 2 interesting. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be a perfect setup for quite a few pushes from Acend, because Online Warriors, they've built themselves such a hole here. 87-11.
One good setup, though, could be enough for Online Warriors to just get back into this game, and Acend know that. They can't afford to allow Online Warriors to get to the point where they're comfortable, where they're holding the ball in a position which is unachievable to get back into this one. And phlux is again being aggressive here. He's pushing out, he's taking the game to Acend. We saw it previously working out, maybe not in his favor when he had the sword, but overall, this is getting so much time now for the Online Warriors, because Acend are having to deal with the aggression that we're seeing from this squad. And every single time someone spawns, there seems to be an Online Warriors player there begging the question of, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I love the fact, like you pointed out, Online Warriors didn't sit back and try and hold like an old Halo 2 classic setup, right? They tried to be aggressive. They tried to approach it with, if we have a numbers advantage, let's continue that numbers advantage, especially extending as far as top elevator and catwalk when your ball guy is in pipes. But how long can they keep that up is the big question, because although you've made a significant dent in the deficit that you've built here in round 2, it could be all for naught, as the setup once again is broken. The ball is in Acend's hands for now, and Online Warriors may have just one last push to try and break this one and stop a round 3 from coming on.
Round 3 will be arriving, and we're going right down to the wire then between these two sides. I've got to say, I didn't expect this to be happening. Whilst I knew that Online Warriors could make a massive dent in this tournament, I didn't see them taking Acend all the way to a best of 3 and round 3 of this best of 3. But now this is where you've got to show what you're made of, right? You've taken them to the game 3, the best of 3, and the round 3. But can you actually win this round? Can you actually do the unthinkable, which no one else has been able to do in online competition?
Yeah, this is what we're going to learn a lot about Online Warriors. And they get 4 dead early on. They get camo. They get the ball immediately in the hands. And they get a 5th kill as well. So this setup should be able to be held for at least 20 seconds as of now. Lqgend going down that quickly. That was a little bit of an overextension, being the first one to come off spawn. Sica, can they continue to stagger the spawns is the question. Respectful can't quite finish Sica bottom BR. Gets good damage onto a second player as well. But these kills not being finished does not bode well for Online Warriors fans. But what I wanted to say at the start of this round was this is where the pressure is going to be felt from Online Warriors. How will they handle this pressure is going to be a big answer into how well they will do here today. Unfortunately, their early setup, it's going to be stopped at 21 points right now. Shaady doing so much damage, trying to figure out a way to get this ball into his team's control, but can't quite do it with these players in long haul. And we'll see if Acend can get the first few kills now that they have a little bit of map control to play around. And there it is, the ball into pipes. And now the push from long haul is going to be Online Warriors' response.
All in hand, pipes in control as well, but Snipedrone recognizing the pressure from one side, and this is really good movement from a player who's holding the ball, just trying to delay as much as you can, score as many points, whilst also giving that information to the rest of the team, as he knows he was being pushed from one side, but he saw the kills coming from the rest of the squad. So it's just a matter of trying to get that ball towards your team and getting the points at the same time. Granted, it does mean that Online Warriors were able to stop that ball time eventually because he put himself in a risky position. Batteries obviously can be naded and can be shot from several different angles, as Snakey is currently finding out. 21-12 though, and a very nervy round 3.
Yeah, I love how Online Warriors was able to at least just subside the setup for Acend right there. Momentarily, at the very least, a few kills being traded out here, but no harm, no foul. And if Online Warriors can keep up this recipe for success, they're going to be able to take this round 3. Mose has found himself the camo. Will they be able to expect it, though? No, the ball carrier, he's been trying to rotate this towards that elevator position, and that's allowed Mose to knock him down to no shield. But Mose wisely does not chase that player. Able to relocate top middle, find the opening, find some follow-up damage, and unfortunately, even though it's traded out, they go 2 for 1 in that situation. It's all 4 dead for Online Warriors. On the other side of the map, Acend reigned true, and they were able to stay up. 3 players from Acend. Now, in pipes, we'll see how successful Online Warriors can continue to break these setups, because that's the difficult piece. How glued together is this Online Warriors squad? Because Acend, when they get a full setup, they're going to be strong. But just like that, Dan, another setup is broken, and Acend seem to be falling short in these setup opportunities, and that could be just what Online Warriors need. Snipedrone, he gets taken down. Respectful traded out as well. 30 and 21 for Respectful. 104 seconds of objective time. So continuing to dominate in the statistical category, but 16 assists for both Mose and phlux just show you how much help he's been able to have throughout this game 3. Snipedrone finding a double is a big one, as the ball is in the hands of Acend. The lead now in the hands of Acend here in round 3. The battle for camo ensues, and unfortunately, just a little bit of an overextension from Snipedrone. Multiple members of Online Warriors, they're going to be able to get it, as they've lost the lead. They secured the camo, and Respectful, we'll see what he can do now that he's secured.
49-35. And this camouflage, there's a lot of responsibility here for Respectful. Can you actually stay alive? Needles is not a fun place to be, ever. Even if you've got camouflage or not, but he actually is going to use it to get some ball control here. But does he know Snipedrone's there? Yes, he does, but phlux is taking him down. And this could be a really important moment for Online Warriors. They've got pipes control, they've got the ball. Now they just need to be checking these spawns. Is there anyone who has tabs on them? Do they know where Acend are going to be pushing them from? If they can get 1 round of slays here, this could be a very significant amount of time.
He's got a player to deal with here on the bat ledge. Can he find the kill? No, it's actually 2 players for Acend that sandwich him. Online Warriors, they go 3 for 2 here. Sica, last player alive. He's on this plat, and Mose, he spots him out. They're in a 1v1. Mose wisely just stands behind the pillar, waits for teamwork, and that's the teamwork you do not see at a newly formed teams. I love the fact that Mose played his life right there, and it's allowed Online Warriors to potentially get an elevator setup, but Shaady grapples the ball into the hallways, and that removes any sort of setup opportunity from Online Warriors with that grapple. And I love that play by Shaady because he just saved his team a world of hurt from an elevator setup that was the potential of Online Warriors. And now they've got to figure out a way to get kills because 4 dead for Acend. Online Warriors saw that as an opportunity to push top middle, get some kills of their own. And this is not something we see honestly, Dan, this is not something we see very often. Acend being outslayed in one of our longer games here in the EU scene, here on Recharge Oddball. I mean, Online Warriors are bringing it to them, and just like that, Acend answered back with 4 dead of their own.
But this is the same thing we've seen time and time again, right? Online Warriors are so close, as other teams have been able to get somewhat close to beating Acend before, but Acend always seem to clutch up at that final moment, and they're going to have the chance to do here once more what they've done before. 1 minute 21 on the clock, but this last setup could be the setup. The melee doesn't quite come through at first glance, and now Mose and Snakey have been able to push in. They've been able to get a little bit of pipes control here, and Acend are not going to be able to easily walk away with this one. And Lqgend recognizing it, playing the ball, 78-71. The clock could be a factor in these final moments.
Yeah, minute 5 on the clock, so pay attention to that time. 78-71. Acend have just a narrow 7-point lead. Snakey with sword in hand. All they need to do is get the ball into this halls, and this could be it. 3 dead for Acend. Online Warriors have to get the ball, and I love the fact that they're able to use that grapple like Shaady earlier to get that ball into the pipes. And now with sword in control of this pipes area, it's going to be so difficult for Acend to push, and they have to push now. They've got 20 points. Sword is out of ammo, but it's created the opening to give them numbers advantage. They do lose Respectful, however, so it's a 3-on-3, but 13 points is all Online Warriors need to create the upset, and multiple members of Acend are trying to push through the elevator side.
phlux manages to play the ball. Respectful in a position to at least watch this ball as well, but unfortunately, I don't think it went off into the middle. It didn't, so Respectful has to get this kill. Can't get the bullets onto it, so Acend are able to hold on ever so slightly. 33 seconds remaining, 88-83. Online Warriors have the advantage. They know where the ball is. Acend are moments away from being sent into that elimination bracket, but Lqgend escapes with the ball just towards blue. If he can get around this corner, which he can, Acend put themselves in a great position as 3 are dead for Online Warriors.
This is massive from Acend. They clutch up one player to deal with. That player takes down the ball. It gets repulsed off the map. 19 seconds and counting down. The ball gets played. Spawners for Online Warriors are towards pipes. Phlux trying to get that ball over towards the pipes, but it's kills that Online Warriors need now. They get 1 on Snipedrone. They get 2 on the Sica, but that ball is in such a susceptible place. 5 seconds forward. Someone needs to get to it. They get to it. It's down on the batteries. 1 point separates them. You got to pick it up. They get the point. They get the point. 3 seconds. They drop it. Online Warriors have done it. They create the upset against Acend, and that play ball from the repulsor is going to bite Acend at the end of the day. Oh my God. Online Warriors coming off spawn there and figuring out a way to get kills, to milk just a few seconds. I mean, Dan, I'm speechless with the amount of action that just happened. Everyone stepping up and making a play there at the end. And Online Warriors showing you, like I tried to talk about at the start of that 3rd round, was this is where the pressure gets felt. Well, guess what? In the last 10 seconds of that game, that pressure, it's multiplied by 100. And Online Warriors thrived in those last 10 seconds. They did everything they needed to. And what a game out of Respectful as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just witnessed history. Acend have finally lost a series in EU online competition here in Halo Infinite, and they find themselves in the elimination bracket, and it's to a newly formed team. And you're completely right, Respectful is going to be feeling on top of the world right now. It was deemed that he was the problem in Na'Vi. He was the change that was made on that squad after their disappointing time in Kansas City. He forms this new online squad featuring teammates that he's been with before in different iterations of Halo. And they have been able to take down the giants of Acend, knock them into the elimination bracket, do the unthinkable. Yes, okay, it's a best of 3. Things can happen, but it's never happened before for Acend. And Online Warriors guarantee themselves minimum top 3 in our first return to Pro Series.
Living up to the name. Online Warriors doing it best. Online's all you got for a little bit here in the EU scene, here for the Pro Series, and taking every advantage of every opportunity that they're given so far here today. I mean, what a journey for Respectful in just today alone, to beat Navi after they replaced him, to beat Acend, a team that he's yet to beat here in this region, for Acend to get the wake-up call that they needed. It started with the Catalyst Slayer, and you wondered that game went the distance, and you wondered if the new map, the new modes were going to come to be influential and maybe shifting some of the power over in some of these individual scenes. And looks like the answer to that is yes. But that game 3, Oddball Recharge, that should be one that Acend can look at and say, this is a game type we know we're better than, we're well practiced at. But that practice, it did not pay off this time around. Online Warriors came through, and it really was the entire team stepping up and making plays. But Respectful, when he's able to get that many kills and lead his team in kills, but not only that, but have that significant amount of ball time, you can tell how focused and locked in he is to regain his status here in the EU scene, to understand that, hey, my career can go one of two ways when I get replaced onto a team.